This is the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney with a quick check on what's going on. So here's my man to get into it.
Thanks for listening. April Fool's Day. Man, it was so much more fun as a kid. Grown-ups have to think up elaborate pranks to surprise other adults, but kids can just make up anything to fool other youngsters. Guess I'm just jealous. No foolery here, though. These stories coming up, all true. Wacky and silly, but true.
My favorite stories of the day.
If what cops say is accurate, it sounds like this guy just gave up and said, I gotta do me. KTLA News 5, Southern California, is reporting a Ventura County man is facing his third strike after just being convicted, so could spend the rest of his life in prison because police say this past December, 40-year-old Matthew Scott broke into a woman's home in Simi Valley while she was there and on the phone. And when she saw him, county prosecutors say he ran off without stealing anything. So they say she told whoever she was on the phone with, and they called the cops who came while they say he was walking into another home that was not his, 2 blocks away. And investigators say he got into the second home just like the first woman thinks he got into hers, right through an open garage door. Never blaming victims, but close the garage doors. Now, KTLA did not say if he took anything from the second home, but Simi Valley officers say they caught him 3 blocks away from the first home where the woman was. And at that point, they say it was clear he could have been tracked down sooner if they knew who he was because he was wearing an ankle monitor. Prosecutors say this guy was already convicted of burglaries in 2007 and 2015, so could very well end up with life in prison for this third alleged strike and did not steal a thing while wearing an ankle monitor to track where he had been. Now to Central Florida, where a state highway trooper in the K-9 unit stopped at the Wild Cow Prairie Cemetery this past Thursday afternoon to give the dog a break and let it do a number 1 and maybe a number 2. VillagesNews.com is reporting this Wild Cow Prairie Cemetery near Webster in Sumter County is listed on the National Register of Historic Places because of people buried there. So this dog is doing his thing in a special place. But the pooch was not alone in that category because while waiting, the trooper and other troopers who also pulled up for their own break noticed a car parked with the windows down, but nobody was in it. Then looked around and spotted a man and woman doing their thing inside the cemetery. And the troopers got specific, saying the couple was having sex on top of unknown grave number 43. Around 4 p.m., middle of the day. So troopers say they walked over to get the couple to uncouple and say they took off back to the car to get their clothes. So they apparently started in the car and finished on the grave, both taken to jail for that, caught because the K-9 unit needed a break. In Evansville, Indiana, right on the Kentucky border, the Thai Bistro and Bar filed a complaint against a plumbing company because the plumber is accused of basically being petty. But petty is an understandable way to hear the plumber explain it, since WFIE 14 News is reporting the restaurant called them to unclog their kitchen's grease trap, which they took care of and charged the restaurant $235, and they paid. And 3 days later, the grease trap got clogged up again, so the plumbers were called again to unclog it again. And this time they charged $390 because it was an emergency after-hours job. But the restaurant refused to pay the bill for the second one, arguing they should have done the job right the first time. So the plumber responded by coming back the next morning. And 14 News has the Thai Bistro surveillance video footage showing that plumber putting a balloon down the grease trap to clog it up again, and gave the restaurant about an hour to pay up before the plumber left for the weekend. So the bistro called police. Officers came out and played mediator. The restaurant did end up paying the second bill under protest. Meanwhile, the Heveron Plumbing's protest, being that balloon, was deflated and the plumber pulled it from the grease trap. Now, police in Portland, Oregon have a mystery on their hands. Somebody keeps putting large jugs of pee in people's recycling bins. And when I say large, I mean gallon-sized jugs. KATU ABC2 in Portland has pictures and surveillance videos from the homeowner who says this just started happening last September and the guy kept coming back for months, pulling up in a BMW no less, pulling out these jugs filled with urine and putting them in his recycling bin. Now, the recycling collectors see that as a biohazard, so they refuse to take it. Never mind where all this pee is coming from. That's a mystery only the guy leaving it could answer. And the surveillance video is a little grainy, so cannot get a good shot of the pee-packing guy or his license plate. Now, the homeowner did solve his problem by no longer dragging out his recycling bin to the curb, but that only caused a problem next door because the guy kept coming, just started pulling up next door and dumping the gallon jugs of urine in the neighbor's bin. The cops say if this guy would just come by on a trash day and dump it in the garbage, no problem. They would not go after him. It's trash, but he's coming by on recycling day with jugs. So, yeah, they're recyclable, but not when filled with pee, as if it's impossible to find a toilet to pour it all down. Back after this break. But first, give a listen to DJ Greg H's podcast. It's good.
It's the hip-hop and R&B journey with Greg H.
You can download the Jams Podcast Mix for free. Just Google search Jams Podcast Mix.
Real hip-hop and R&B matters. The hip-hop and R&B journey with Greg H.
Have you been arrested for throwing a freak-off party?
Or for being video recorded relieving yourself on a teen girl in bed? The law firm of McCracken and Butts is the team for you.
Call McCracken and Butts at 212-555-5555. That's 212-555-5555.
McCracken and Butts. It's what we do for you.
Egg prices are out of control.
Can't buy them. I mean, you just can't.
No eggs with bacon for breakfast. So a lot of us may feel like this grocery shopper right now.
Everybody gonna be skinny, walking around here looking crazy because we can't get no eggs. You know what else I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen without the eggs? You ain't gonna have no cakes. Chocolate cakes is over with.
Not if you head to J-Dub's Pigeon Coop. $5 a dozen for eggs laid minutes before, fresh out the mother pigeon. It can't get more organic than that. So swing on by to J-Dub's Rooftop Market at the corner of Clinton Avenue and South 17th in Newark. Drop by.
And now for the world around us.
Well, here's a bit of inspiration to middle-aged folks still looking to have kids. A 66-year-old woman in Germany just gave birth by C-section to a healthy baby boy Wednesday before last in Berlin, 7 pounds, 13 ounces, and was conceived naturally. No in vitro fertilization, just the good old-fashioned way. Now, Global News is reporting this is Alexandra Hildenbrandt's 10th child altogether and her 8th with her husband since she turned 53. Talk about a late bloomer. Her oldest is 46, and the others are between 2 and 36 years old. Yeah, her 2 oldest are from a previous relationship, and she told reporters her kids are happy to keep getting new siblings, which might mean they're not on diaper duty, but their house has gotten pretty cramped. So Hildenbrandt says her husband recently bought a new house in Berlin and renovating it now so that all 8 of their kids will have their own bedrooms. Now, as far as her secret to being that fertile, nothing special. Hildenbrand says she eats healthy, swims and runs, never smoked or drank alcohol, and never uses contraception. No surprise there. But boy, was a pet bird likely surprised in Queensland, Australia, because its homeowner did not own a pet snake, but a coastal carpet python recently came slithering in and went straight for the bird cage. Caged up food looks good to a snake, so UPI is reporting the homeowner freaked out and called a professional snake catcher who pulled up as the python was on top of the cage trying to get in.
Poor bird.
Stuart McKenzie of Sunshine Coast Snake Catchers 24/7 posted video of the rescue on Facebook.
When I arrived just then, the bird and the snake literally were touching noses then between the enclosure.
But he pulled the python off the cage, put it in a bag, and says he took it out into the wild to release it to go after a meal not caged up in a home. And before stopping the video, McKenzie said these bird cages are not made for whatever reason to keep snakes out. So food for thought for bird owners. Because he says once a snake squeezes his head inside the cage, the rest can slither in easily, and that will be all she wrote for Tweety. While the owner will be left with just a snake in a cage with a full stomach. that's a wrap for this Real Pod newscast. Also, happy birthday to my younger brother, Mark. He's an April Fool. Hey, really appreciate you all listening. Have a great rest of the week. Back at it on Friday.
This has been the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney from Show Enough Productions. And for more, hit up the website, realpodnewscast.com. That's real with 2 E's. This is Big Daddy Marty Allen. Thanks for listening.
Show enough.